What is
It's
it
the
like?
new fighting about Trump. Like literally, I have a video that I'm doing about this, but it's like basically fighting about the vaccine in America replaced fighting about Trump. It's like the same people on the same sides with the same, yelling at everyone, and both think the opposite side is, the worst thing that's ever happened.
It is really interesting that like whatever it is that made you like Trump made you not like the vaccines and stuff like that, and
he
the
likes
opposite is true. And he got him. Yeah, he was a big reason why you fucking have so many. So
people turned on him a bit, like in his own movement.
It is interesting that like you can like him, but then whatever's in your brain that makes you hate them will make you disagree with him.
It really became the cardinal issue to fight with your family and friends and loved ones about.
So what is it like living in, like, let's be honest, I mean, probably like the most divided country in the world? Well, at least that's what it seems like to us. Is that the case? Do you think?
Afghanistan's looking pretty divided at the moment.
That's true. No, but even still, though, there's like
some bodies are getting divided.
Oh, there's still like a. Jesus.
American journalists.
Is it weird, like hanging out with? Do you have like a lot of friends who you like?
No.
No, great. Oh, then never mind. No, but do you have like a lot of friends that you like disagree with, just like out at dinner? And then is it weird? Does it get awkward?
Well, you have to, know that like the states aren't divided. Like New York isn't very divided.
Yeah.
New York's pretty on the, so every state's like, what's the population of Australia?
20 to 24 million now. Maybe.
Yeah, like that's the population of states. You know what I mean? So every state's like a little country, and within that state, I've been doing jokes like it really is. You go to half the country, and everyone will say stuff that if you lived in a certain, like if you guys live in liberal metropolitan stuff that if you said, everyone's like you're kicked out of the party. Yeah. The Uber drivers right out of the gate, like, can you believe these athletes won't stand for the flag? Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you come back to Brooklyn, and everyone's like, they won't even let our dogs be trans, and it's like no matter where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no,
we
it's
don't really
not that
have
divided here. Like
we
in
don't really
New York,
have
everyone's
that. We don't have like a Texas. We don't have like a place where like people are completely opposing.
No,
like
Canada doesn't either.
Yeah, there's kind of like bits of
they're on the dark web
places where maybe people are a bit less progressive, but it's not like they're completely like there's I guess there's maybe there's probably more racists in Queensland maybe than Victoria and New South Wales, but it's also a lot of just a disparity between like people who are educated, people who aren't, people who live regionally. There's like reasons for that. It's probably like everywhere, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's also mainly just old people as well.
But even, I will say there is, even in New York or I used to live in Toronto, it is one of those things where like everyone kind of agrees for the most part, but then you don't have to go that far. Like you go 45 minutes out of the city and you're in, and they're back to like the more out there in Texas. Yeah. Like I went to a hot dog eating competition at Coney Island, which is like the hot dog.
I saw that.
Yeah. It was like the best, but this was 45 minutes out of the city kind of thing. Yeah. And everyone there was like the liberal mayor went up and everyone booed them and stuff like that. Yeah. And that's like right outside of New York. So I think it switches, but it's basically what the mainstream idea is that, if you went to college here and you started saying, oh, how much you like Trump and stuff, you'd be kind of, people wouldn't like that.
I think the craziest thing about the States is the fact that like most people like or even love a couple politicians. That's crazy to like them at all.
They're like a cult of personality.
Well, like in Australia, like the general vibe is you pick the guy whose ideas you like the most, but you still think he's a dickhead. Even though I voted for him, he's a fucking dickhead. And if he doesn't do what he says, I'm off him.
People don't really like anyone. Like I think that's what Australia like amused us the most about your election, particularly the Trump one, was people like
I'm Canadian, but he knows that.
Yeah, but like people like cared though. Like people,
yes, sir.
Yeah, but like our ones, people just go like, "Oh, they both suck, but this person sucks less." That's the whole.
Dude, can you imagine
political
campaigning
race
for a guy and as you're adult, like you're door to door, like trying to help some politician?
Oh, it's pathetic.
It's so nerdy, and I was even thinking that with like Trump or Bernie, any of these people, there is something weird about people when they're in their 30s. Because when you see a kid and he's like, I love, Michael Jordan and, or LeBron James, like it's like, yeah, that's kid stuff. When you see like a 35-year-old man and it's like everything he's posting is like, this guy is such my hero. And it's like, you're his age. It's just something so weird about so like in love, like you're someone's little pet kind of, just like you're doing their bidding. But I guess that's how they're trying to build their career too, where a lot of people sort of build their career off of like supporting a person's movement, I guess.
Do people get around it in Canada? Like around your politicians, or is it the same as us? We're like,
because now it's copied. It's like everything in America seeped into Canada, so they're kind of just the same as here now. So they get around the American politicians, then the Canadian ones represent that. But it is equally as like tumultuous there now, is it? But it wasn't like that when I was growing up.
It might be, man. It might be moving that way. I feel like that's what the media is pushing everyone towards.
They want you to be there now.
Yeah, I think so. They want you to be like super, because anger and divisiveness and hard belief is clicks and money for all these fucking media organizations and news and that's our job, is like what's the funniest thing that will cause a reaction that will make people click and share, which is fine for comedy, but when your job is to like inform the public, like it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah, and it's the same as the way that people take politicians seriously. They shouldn't take the news as seriously. I remember I was watching this documentary, and it was kind of like I don't know what like maybe an activist thing a bit. I can't remember. It was about like crack and stuff like that. But it was a huge part of the documentary was, why the news was wrong here, and the media got this wrong, and the media was all wrong about this, and they all said this. And it was like for the last 50 years. But it was like, but these people, so you think they're right now? Like, but this time they're nailing it. It's like all this, like the same people that will agree that the media's been so wrong for the last 50 years or whatever, and how they work together and all of the conspiracies they essentially covered up and did the government's bidding and all that sort of stuff. But they're like, no, but this time they're in unison, right? Like,
they said a nice thing about my team, so they're telling the truth for now.
Yeah.